Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including more Tesla delivery delays, Tesla getting beat to the $25,000 EV, Cybertruck production updates from Elon, Panasonic 4680 cells, and more. So let's get into it, and a special thanks to Narwhal for sponsoring this video. First up today, Tesla's demand keeps increasing, but even though they've opened 2 new factories this year, the impact of those hasn't really come into play yet. People buying the Model Y and especially Model X are seeing this the worst, with long wait times and delays on those wait times. The latest timelines are updated on Tesla's website, and some cars have incredibly long waits, especially if they are long range. For the standard range Model 3, Tesla now quotes delivery in September to December of this year with stock wheels. For the long range Model 3, that moves to November to February of 2023. That's not too bad, but the Model Y is clearly a bit more popular and constrained at the same time. The base Model Y in the US now says delivery in March to June of 2023 if you order today. From what many have seen actually play out, that likely means June at the earliest. A base Model S shows the same timeline, March to June of 2023, and then a base Model X is the longest with a delivery estimate of June to September of 2023. For myself, I have a Model Y on order since early March, and since I went with white interior, Tesla originally quoted me a delivery timeline as early as May. The timing delays have actually worked out fine for me, but my latest estimate shows August to September of 2022. Many see similar or worse, especially when buying the most popular options like the Gemini wheels and black interior. I often get questions about what is going on when this happens to people, and unfortunately there isn't really a clear answer. On one side, Tesla is doing the best that they can, navigating supply issues and making as many cars as they can. They are trying to give hundreds of thousands of customers a decent delivery estimate, but things come up that make those tough or impossible to hold to. On the other side though, as a customer experience, your first experience with Tesla is an app that randomly changes your delivery estimate, and you never really hear from anyone in person until your VIN is actually assigned. Then some customers have issues like the recent ECU issue, where their car VIN is assigned, but the car is awaiting a necessary part at a service center for weeks before it can be delivered. It's always exciting to see Tesla shipping a ton of cars, but customer service can suffer in these ways, and I really hope that they can see that and improve on it, especially if they want repeat customers. In any case though, as much as long delivery estimates are unfortunate, it's a clear sign of how in demand Teslas are and electric vehicles as a whole. In fact, EV adoption as a whole is heating up, not just for Tesla. A report from Bloomberg NEF shows the electric vehicle outlook updated for 2022. There's a lot of info in this report, but in global passenger EV sales by market, we can see a massive increase each year, leading to the latest complete data in 2021, nearly doubling the previous year. China and Europe are leading in sales by far, with the US coming in third, but still pretty far behind. Interestingly, for charging stations, those are also increasing year over year, but not at the same rate. Connectors went from a little over 1,250,000 worldwide to a little over 1,750,000 worldwide from 2020 to 2021, whereas the cars themselves nearly doubled. Again, China and Europe are leading, with the US in third, but still pretty far behind. As far as oil displacement from EVs, it says, quote, EVs of all types are already displacing 1.5 million barrels per day of oil usage, equivalent to about 3% of total road fuel demand. They show that for vans and trucks, there is a displacement of 57,784 barrels per day, passenger cars is 196,158 barrels per day, 234,698 barrels for buses, and 1,010,228 barrels for 2- and 3-wheelers. As a result, battery demand required for these cars has risen sharply. We can see an especially large increase from 2020 to 2021, with 2021 demand showing nearly 500 gigawatt hours needed that year. 2022 should be even higher. There's a lot more info in their executive summary, but already this data illustrates what is becoming clear to everyone, that EVs are very popular. Tesla is at the forefront in shipping more electric cars than anyone, but the competition is actually heating up finally. It will take some time to get there, but availability is the biggest question with most companies, including Tesla seeing delays, but Ford, who makes the Mach-E and is now shipping the F-150 Lightning, has started talking about the impending electric car price war. Ford's CEO Jim Farley believes that the EV market is soon going to enter a price war with upcoming $25,000 models. He also mentioned that EVs will be sold online with a non-negotiable price. Currently, there isn't much of a price war in the downward direction on EVs, as prices have only risen this year, but in the coming years that will change. Jim Farley said, quote, "Our industry is definitely heading to a huge price war. For the Mach-E, that car starts around $45,000, but Ford said that the battery pack itself costs $18,000 to build, leading them to see that cost improvements will really come with batteries and a reduction in manufacturing costs. Quote, half the fixtures, half the workstations, half the welds, 20% less fasteners. We designed it because it's such a simple product to radically change the manufacturability. This is Tesla's entire focus, and we talk all the time about their massive focus on manufacturing and battery supply, and now Ford is starting to see this as well. For the price war on the upcoming $25,000 EV, there are a few companies who could be involved. VW has a concept for the ID Life, running around that price. Tesla has talked about a future $25,000 EV. The Nissan Leaf can get under $25,000 with the federal tax credit already, but now GM has actually introduced the first true $25,000 EV achieved without a tax credit. The Chevy Bolt has been out for a while now, and while it has faced a really rough battery recall recently, that car has been a pretty compelling, affordable EV. It gets a decent range and starts right in the $30,000 range. Now, however, Chevy has announced that for the 2023 Bolt EV and EUV, instead of increasing prices, they are dropping the price by $6,000. This comes for every trim, meaning that the cheapest Chevy Bolt now starts at $25,600. Once you include dealership freight charges, the price does go up a bit to $26,595, but that's incredibly impressive for a fully electric vehicle at this point. It gets an EPA range of 259 miles, which is also very impressive at that price point. You'd pay $20,000 more to get a Tesla with a range that's only about 13 miles more than this. Their 2LT trim, which includes leather seats, HD surround vision, and lane change alert, still starts below $30,000 at $29,795. The Bolt EUV, a larger version of the Bolt, starts at $28,195 with dealer freight charges, also very impressive for being fully electric. GM said, quote, this change reflects our ongoing desire to make sure Bolt EV/EUV are competitive in the marketplace. As we've said, affordability has always been a priority for these vehicles. As this article mentions, many dealers have been marking up prices on EVs like the Ford F-150 Lightning, Hummer EV, and Kia EV6, but the Bolt hasn't experienced this from what we can tell. For the Chevy Bolt, due to the battery recalls, production was stopped for some time, but it resumed in April, and this announcement will likely help get people more interested in that car again. However, the real question is, how is the Bolt this affordable, and how long will this last? Are they really the first to break the code and figure out a $25,000 EV, or are they losing money on these cars? And how long will these price cuts truly be able to last, especially if battery costs keep rising, and they need batteries to ship their other premium-priced electric vehicles? We'll see how that plays out, and I assume that they'll have to end up raising the price, or they won't actually be available at this price. But I would love to see it happen in large demand and cause other companies to need to make a competing car in this price range. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Narwhal. The Narwhal T10 is an incredible self-cleaning robot that sweeps and mops your floors at the press of a button. With just one click, the robot will sweep, mop, build a map, and return to its station. It has a super strong suction and uses side brushes instead of rollers to avoid getting tangled in hair. The mopping function is also really effective and can clean hard to remove stains as well as standing liquid. With a full 5-liter tank, it can clean up to 3,000 square feet of floor space. Once it's done mopping, it goes back to its station to self-clean and automatically dries the mop pads so they're ready to go next time. What really sets this little guy apart, though, is that it creates a map of your home to find the most efficient way to clean it and avoid getting into trouble. It also has an advanced navigation system so it can traverse rugs, won't fall down the stairs, and won't be stopped by bumping into things. From the Narwhal app, you can set up no-go zones, choose from multiple cleaning plans, get updates and automatic upgrades, adjust how the robot cleans, and more. The app makes it super easy to customize, and so far, it's doing a really good job. To check out the Narwhal T10 for yourself, click the link in the description below. Next up today, regarding battery supply, Panasonic, who already makes batteries for Tesla, has apparently shipped samples of their own 4680 cells to Tesla. This is the new battery cell form factor that Tesla announced at their 2020 Battery Day, which would bring a number of improvements to battery production, cost, and performance. Tesla will be making these cells themselves, but also will be working with suppliers, like Panasonic is indicating. Quote, Panasonic said mass production of the new battery is set to begin in its new fiscal year starting March next next year at its plant in Wakayama in Japan, before production is moved to North America. Panasonic's energy CEO said, quote, "A pilot line created first in Japan made it possible to start large-scale prototype production in May, and this indicates that Panasonic is planning to build a new battery plant in the US, specifically to supply Tesla with 4680 cells. They already have a battery factory in Nevada where they partner with Tesla, but now they will be building their own battery factory to build a new battery cell form factor that only one company is asking for, Tesla." The latest reports say that they're looking at potential sites in Kansas and Oklahoma to supply Tesla's new factory in Texas. This is exciting to see for the future of battery supply and shows how serious Tesla is about getting and securing batteries in every way possible. It also shows how much Panasonic believes in the future demand that Tesla has. They're going all in and planning to build an entire factory specifically close to Tesla's Giga Texas to make a battery cell that only Tesla will use, at least for now. It's a huge investment and looks great for the future of Tesla's demand. Next up today, speaking of Giga Texas, one vehicle Tesla will be making there is the Cybertruck. While many doubt that this truck will ever be made, Tesla continues moving towards its production, however delayed it may be. A big piece of the Cybertruck is that production is supposed to be far cheaper, enabled with large castings, which they are now implementing on the Model Y with a 6,000-ton casting machine made by Idra. Idra just announced their all-new 9,000-ton die casting machine, with a video on their YouTube channel showing its assembly. Last week we talked about this and speculated that it will be the casting machine for the Cybertruck. Elon Musk said last year, quote, "We're actually going to be using even bigger machines for the rear body of Cybertruck because obviously it's a bigger vehicle, and you've got a long truck bed that's going to do a lot of loads. So we'll be using an 8,000-ton casting press for the rear body casting." Idra announced at the time that, quote, "Idra makes a world's first for technological innovation, and we are very proud that today, on March 16, 2021, we have been able to secure the first order for an 8,000-ton die casting machine. This was an 8,000-ton die casting machine, but it appears that it has been changed to a 9,000-ton casting machine and will be for the Cybertruck." Elon Musk confirmed this week. When Sawyer Merritt tweeted this video of the 9,000-ton Giga press being assembled, Elon responded simply, "Cybertruck body." It's unclear where this is being assembled in the video, but eventually it will make its way to Giga Texas to officially start building Cybertruck bodies. The Cybertruck is very different than any car Tesla has built yet, so we'll likely be seeing prototypes for quite some time before true production and scaling can begin, but the fact that this machine for the Cybertruck body is being assembled by Idra is a huge first step to getting the Cybertruck delivered. Next up today, over at Tesla, Elon Musk has officially called for an end of remote work. In a leaked email from Elon Musk, the subject was, "Remote work is no longer acceptable." The full email says, quote, "Anyone who wishes to do remote work must be in the office for a minimum, and I mean minimum, of 40 hours per week or depart Tesla. This is less than we ask of factory workers. If there are particularly exceptional contributors for whom this is impossible, I will review and approve those exceptions directly. Moreover, the quote office must be a main Tesla office, not a remote branch office unrelated to the job duties, for example, being responsible for Fremont factory human relations, but having your office be in another state." This leaked and frustrated many as to Tesla not allowing remote work anymore, since many value this today, but Elon's response to people wanting to continue working remotely was simply they should pretend to work somewhere else. Everyone has different views on this, but that response seems to be pretty close-minded and unfortunate to see. He's assuming that remote work is equal to pretending to work, and while that can be the case, it's just not the entire story. In any case, in a follow-up email, he was extra strict with the subject of "to be extra clear." His email said, quote, "Everyone at Tesla is required to spend a minimum of 40 hours in the office per week. Moreover, the office must be where your actual colleagues are located, not some remote pseudo-office. If you don't show up, we will assume you have resigned. The more senior you are, the more visible must be your presence. This is why I lived in the factory so much, so that those on the line could see me working alongside them. If I had not done that, Tesla would long ago have gone bankrupt. There are of course companies that don't require this, but when was the last time they shipped a great new product? It's been a while. Tesla has and will create and actually manufacture the most exciting and meaningful products of any company on Earth. This will not happen by phoning it in. Thanks, Elon." Elon's viewpoint here, and in turn Tesla's viewpoint here, is incredibly clear. Tesla workers must come into the office or get an exception directly from Elon himself. I've seen each end of the spectrum on reactions to this, so I'm curious, what are your thoughts? Leave a comment below and let me know. Next up today, Tesla's Autopilot functionality has remained pretty consistent in many markets. Auto steer and traffic-aware cruise control are standard, and after moving to a vision-only system on all new vehicles, Tesla has finally updated the Autopilot top speed to 85 miles per hour. It still has to catch up to the top speed of vehicles with radar of 90 miles per hour. They also shipped the FSD package, which includes a few things at delivery and the potential for the FSD beta down the road, but in Europe it's a bit of a different story. This week, Tesla has been forced to further limit the functionality of its Autopilot system to comply with regulations from the United Nations Commission for Europe. Customers in Europe who ordered with Enhanced Autopilot or FSD have seen their delivery on hold in the past few weeks, and advisors said that they were waiting on an update that would deactivate features that those features come with. Now the update has been deployed and it's version 2022.11.102. The release notes say, quote, "The Navigate on Autopilot feature has been updated. A new feature is that a driver-triggered request is now required before the vehicle can select a motorway exit or junction. Basically, drivers must manually signal for a lane change when using Navigate on Autopilot, instead of the car being able to do it for you as long as you hold the wheel." The release notes mentioned that the update, quote, "serves as a resolution to a recall for a non-compliance with the previous feature, which does not require a driver-initiated request and only affects vehicles with Navigate with Autopilot in markets where European ECE regulations apply. Feature introductions, recalls, rollbacks, and approvals will be something that become commonplace in the future for Tesla and all self-driving cars. It's definitely unfortunate that certain markets have these restrictions, but it also kind of makes sense for regulations. For now, the restriction is pretty small, but we'll see what the future holds. Last up today, Buick has announced that they are going all-electric by 2030. They said, quote, "The Buick brand is committed to an all-electric future by the end of this decade. Buick's new logo, use of the Electra naming series, and a new design look for our future products will transform the brand." They even adopted a new Tri-Shield logo badge to mark their new electric vehicles, and they plan for their first model to come out in 2024. They unveiled a new coupe called Wildcat, and while the production version of this concept will likely be a bit less involved, the concept photos do look pretty cool. Regardless of what happens here, it's another clear example of how much electric cars are the future and how much Tesla continues to push the industry in that direction. That's all the latest Tesla news for today. So in the meantime, if you want to see my one-year review of the Tesla Model 3, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.